Hello everyone. As you have already read the context that we are gonna something learn about error and exceptions in this video. So what is exceptions? What is error and how we handle it in small programs to large scale or production based projects. Okay, so be with me. Let's get started. So I am Suryakant, currently working as a Java developer intern at Hulk High Technology. So in this period of time, I have took the responsibility to handle the error response or error handling, exceptions handling, end to end. And let's get how do it. So I have asked about what is error and exceptions to ChatGPT, and he gave me something that programming error and exceptions, that the problems that occur during the execution of the program, right? When you execute a small piece of code or large piece of large production based projects, there are many of times we see there might be some small problems that may occur. So we have to handle that, right? We can't just leave it alone. Okay. So what you see, there are two types of errors. One is compile time error, another one is runtime error. What is compile time error? This type of error occurs when we try to compile the program or code. It's generally a syntactical error that you have made some semicolon or you have accidentally write some code that doesn't compile. And another one is runtime error, that your code is successfully compiled, but while it's executing, there might some error or exceptions occur or might some problems occur. Okay, let's say example. I have wrote a simple code. Okay, here it is. So I have wrote a simple Java. Yeah, let you know that for this video, only prerequisite is that you have some knowledge about only simple Java syntax or not. Okay, I have wrote a simple Java program. Hello world. With that, I am initializing a variable with a integer type variable and passing it to if block. Right. In generally if block, you pass only boolean values here. But what if you passed a integer value? Let's see what happens. When I try to run, it's taking me time. Yeah, and error are one. This is the compile time error, or you can say the syntactical error. Right. Once I have provided the if a integer type variable, which is not legal actually. Okay, so if I pass a boolean value, usually if you see n is equal to 0, will itself is converts to a boolean value, right? So now I am passing a boolean value, or you can see just you can pass it true value. That's it. Now I should in, yeah, a number, which is something called if inside the if. Let's say, right now I run, yeah, inside the if. Now there is no error. Similarly, there is also, just I have said, runtime errors. What runtime errors? That your code is successfully compiled, but while executing the program, it ran into some exceptions or some problem has occurred. Just like if I pass, here is n is equal to 0, right? Now let's try to divide it. Okay, now let's divide by n. You can't do this, right? Let's put n equals to 10 divided by n, as we have already initialized n equal to 0. Now it will run into some exceptions. Why? Because there is no compile time or syntactical error here. Just I read it right, but while the program itself is running, then it is came or is throwing error that you can't divide something by 0. Can you? No. So that it is giving the exceptions. That exceptions in thread main and main line number 8. Similarly, in many projects like production based project also, there some might error comes uh, while fetching some data. There is no data came, and by default it is a null. And if you are trying to operate some actions of operations on that data, on null data, basically it is through error, that null time error, null pointer error. So okay, so these errors should be handled properly so that our code remains intact or our code doesn't break. As I have, let me see you. I have just wrote a simple code. Comment out first. Okay. Uh, manually remove this. It's, right, here it is. Okay. Let's delete it. This also. Okay, right. Here is a simple Java program that you see. I have initialized the scan class or scan for taking the input from the user. Then I have initiated a while loop inside that. N is not equal to 3. Okay. Choose a number basically. And then initialize n equals to 0. Okay. Now let's try to run this. Let's see. Yeah, it asking me to write a number from 1 for hello, 3 for exit. I say 1. Here it is. Okay, let me first comment. Right. You can run this. Okay. It asking me enter any number from 1, 1 hello delay or 3 exit delay. Just a simple program. I am entering 1. Right. Now asking my name. I say Surya. Okay. Hello there, Surya. Now it's also again asking me one or any other names. I say one. And let's many other names like so. Okay. It's saying hello there. You see, our programs continually running. It's not breaking. Now make some exceptions. Let's see what happens. And I have command this. Generally, I am initializing a string variable with null value, and I am trying on operations on that string variable which is null. So it itself give a null pointer exceptions. Now let's save and try to run this. Uh, let's say terminal can compile also first. Let's say there was a constructor. Wire table. Yeah. Certain to yeah. So, okay, now try to run this program. Yeah, it's asking me one for hello and three for exit. I say one. Here you can see the moment I say one, right, it will come to this line, and after initializing, it will come to this line trying to operate on a null variable. So itself, it will give exceptions, the null pointer exception. I click enter here. It says exception in create main null pointer exceptions, right? And our program stops there. There is no more action for enter in value, enter in number from one. Yeah. For these types of error, we can't afford our program to be crashed or our application to be crashed. We have to handle this. So for handling these errors in Java, we have try-catch or many method also, right? Let's try to handle this error. I will go with try-catch, right? And then I'll paste it here. Let's save. Okay. For catch block, let's just print that only. System.out. Exception dot get message. So that what is the error message, we will print it here in console, right? Let's again run this code. Yeah, it is asking for enter any number. I have just one. Yeah, you can see the error have occurred, but now our code doesn't break or the code doesn't crash. Here you see the message that cannot invoke string depth length because it's not. Here, as you have to just printing the message, error message to the console. Here it is saying that this. Okay, now itself the code remains intact. Code is still running. Our code doesn't crash here. Similarly, we can handle these types of errors or many types of errors here, right? And we can just continue with name, and again it's asking for any other names, and I still continue. It still continues. Okay, let's close this. And let's go to the exceptions. What is exceptions? Exceptions are general events that occurred during execution of the program. It's similarly, matlab, similar to the error, nothing else. Okay, they are typical problems that can be caught and handled by the program. Just I have handled the error using try catch. These types of exceptions can be handled also. Okay, there are types of exceptions. What? One is checked exceptions, unchecked exceptions, or runtime exceptions, error exceptions, as I just saw it before. Okay, what is checked exceptions? These exceptions are checked at compile time. When at compilations, if any exception occur, these checked exceptions like file not found. Example here is given that you are accessing a file in your program, but that file is not there. How could you access? So that's itself a error. So that's called checked exceptions. That at compile time, these exceptions are checked. Okay, now there is unchecked exceptions and runtime exceptions. Example, null pointer exceptions. As I have already mentioned that in a project, you are accessing or requiring a data and some errors occurred that maybe network connection is gone and there is no data is coming from. So by default, that variables stores null value, right? And you are trying to operate some operation on that null value. So null pointer exception will come. And array index out of bound exception is another type of unchecked exceptions that you are trying to access that index of array that doesn't exist. Like that, let me comment this out first and see here. Let's comment this file, right? And I'm initializing an array here. Int array is equal to, let's say 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. This only. Okay. Now I am trying to assess it. It is index of 0. Here it is index of 1. Here it is index of 2. Here it is index of 3. Okay. These are four elements and exist in this array, right? If I am trying to element at index 5 or index 4. Yeah. Okay. Now let's print it. System error, not error. Printing the console, right? Now let's run it. Yeah, it's taking a lot of time. Here it is saying that array index of bound exception that the 4 index is doesn't exist as we have 4 elements but our array indexing starts from 0. So at index 3 we have 4 but at index 4 we have nothing and we are trying to accessing that. So array index out of bound exception has occurred and this exception is called runtime exceptions that at execution of this program the exception has occurred, right? So, yeah, as I have just mentioned, um, I took the responsibility of error handling in our project. Let me give you a brief
description about our project. Let me open my Paint. Okay, let's close the PS4. In my duration of my internship, I am working upon a project of payment integration service that our e-commerce client, our client is e-commerce mm, based. So our e-commerce client basically wants their payment handled by a third-party payment service provider like Razorpay, but in our case, it's Stripe, right? Okay. So what is our job? Our job is to integrate these e-commerce clients to the third-party payment service provider or Stripe. Okay. For building this project, we have adopted microservice architecture for easier and convenience, right? And we have divided the microservice into, we have divided the whole project into three microservices or three services basically. One is validation services, validation, and another one is payment, core payments, and third one is Stripe provider. Why we have divided into these three? Why not only tools? Because in some future case also, our client may want to integrate not only with Stripe but also with other third party payment service provider. So that then also we can easily collaborate or we can easily integrate with them by just building another service. Let's say we are integrating with what? Razorpay. Let's say we can just build another service, Razorpay, and our work is simply done. Okay. Okay. For that, I have took the responsibility for end-to-end error handling. Yeah, of course, with guidance my senior developers. Okay, let's go to the project first, and I'm applying my Spring Tools. Okay, here it is. Okay, and now let's our project run. Click tools. Yeah, even build. Let's say clean Spring Boot colon run. Okay, now in that here you see it's the core payment service as I have just already mentioned, and it's the Stripe payment provider service. And for validation service, other developers are working, so I'm not included in that. Okay, so I have run the it's running core payment service processing service. Um, let's open Postman also. Postman. Here it is. Okay. Oh, sorry. Postman generally runs on online mode. Let me connect to Wi-Fi also. Okay. Even close it and even operates. अरे यार, not it. Postman. Let's allow it. Okay, window firewall has blockchain features. Okay, here you see our core payment service is running on port 8082. So I'm also calling 8082 and the endpoint is v2 slash payments. Okay. Let me give you some introduction or description. What we are actually doing here. That our e-commerce line is here. Okay, and yes, okay, yes, that's understand your object. Let's delete it. Great. Okay, first of all, our e-commerce client, when let's say when a user add many products that he wants to buy to his carts and proceed for payments and basically proceed with Stripe, let's say, in that in their content. And then this e-commerce client sends a request to our system. Okay. First of all, it is go through the validation service. Okay. Then from the validation, we are receiving that request to port payment service, port payment processing service. And then for this request, we are also storing the data in the DB. Let's say here itself a DB database, right? Storing the data in DB, and again sending a request that we have successfully stored and updated the status as created. That payment, the client successfully validated the response. The request is successfully validated, and we have stored and updated the status as created. Created. Okay. Then what is doing that? Validation service sends another request with that to call the Stripe provider service. And then Stripe provider service will call the Stripe for payment, mm, making the payment. And then we call Stripe provider, and Stripe provider calls the Stripe. And Stripes give us back a response giving a URL so that our client will redirect that URL and make the payment. And we are just returning this URL to the e-commerce client. Yeah. Okay. So this is the end-to-end flow of our project. So, okay. As I have just run here the what here core payment processing service. I have run this. You can see that I have run these services. Okay. Now for the testing, let's say assume we are the validation service as Postman. And We are not the validation. We are assuming we are validation service and calls the core payment service from the postman, right? Yeah. So this is the we are calling the core payment service. We can. I don't know why it is keeps disconnecting. Let's start it again and close. We can start it now. Okay. From the postman, we are calling the 8081. Now let's shoot the request. Postman has ran into some problems. Okay, okay, for now, let's end this video and it's extending. And in the other part, I will explain this. Okay, thank you very much.